and welcome back to TV. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, René Philippe is back with us in the studio. René, welcome back.
Hi Monica, nice seeing you again.
Nice to see you as well, René. Now we're going to be talking about Bitcoins. Interesting subject. You have, in the past, you've probably been sceptical or said a few things about Bitcoin, not been the #1 fan really, but you've brought Bitcoin to the table today. So what, are you going back on your word a little bit? What's the story here?
No, there is this author which is called John H. Peterson, and he has said that only fool and dead man do not change advice. Fool because they want, dead man because they cannot. And I'm neither a fool nor dead yet, but put it this way, I did not change my mind about Bitcoin. I'm still believing that Bitcoin is not a currency for the fainted of heart. It's a currency which is very volatile, so not the currency you should use to put your saving into. But there are developments at a time where governments are using FACTA, automatic exchange of information, tax information exchange agreement to control the financial market and financial transaction. Bitcoins may bring some solutions.
Okay, that's interesting. Now you're referring to it as a currency. It's obviously digital currency, cryptocurrency, or other terms which are used to describe this phenomenon really. But what is Bitcoin?
So Bitcoin is a digital currency. It's the first digital currency that was created in 2009. It's a piece of code, computer code. It's a software which you can download freely to actually start to trade in Bitcoins. Okay? So it's a totally decentralized currency, an electronic cash means of payment. You have physical Bitcoins, but it's just accessory.
Okay, so that's the kind of the nitty-gritty of it is all online though. But I mean, what are we talking about here in terms of volume? How many are really in circulation since the birth of Bitcoin?
Alors, according to the original code, there will be 21 million Bitcoins on the market overall. At this time, in October 2014, they were 13,400,000 Bitcoins.
A huge amount already, but I mean, there's a lot of talk about it, discussed it at length, even myself, but how do you actually obtain Bitcoins, as it were?
Alors actually, you have two ways to obtain Bitcoins. The first option is you mine them. Alors to mine Bitcoins, you will first need very powerful computer equipment and software which you will need to download, which software is free to download. Then your computer will try to solve a problem, okay? But those problems are actually very difficult to crack. A computer will have to try average 1,700,000,000 times before to crack a problem. But once the computer has cracked the problem, you will receive a block of Bitcoins, 25 Bitcoins, which is worth 7,500 euros. So because there is a gain, you have actually a lot of people which are trying to mine Bitcoins. And the more people trying to mine Bitcoins, the more Bitcoins are in circulation, the more complicated the problem will become. Okay. If you don't want to mine Bitcoin, you can simply purchase them on a Bitcoin exchange platform. All you will need to do this is to set up a Bitcoin address, download the software, and set up a wallet. Alors, in terms of wallet, you can either have what we call a desktop wallet, a mobile wallet, or a web-based wallet. The only thing is you have to be very careful to purchase, to use a good wallet, because basically it will be your bank safe. And as in the real world, a virtual bank safe can be cracked. And if you lose your Bitcoin, they are gone.
Gone forever. So with that in mind then, is it safe to use?
Alors, It's becoming safer to use, but you had this case in 2013 where you have this platform which was called MTGOX, which was Tokyo-based. And they were one of the biggest Bitcoin exchange platforms. They were handling like 70% of world Bitcoin transaction. And they were victim of hackers that have allegedly stolen 800,000 Bitcoins. And at the currency, at the Bitcoin's exchange rate at the time, it was a haste of $450 million. And you have approximately 100,000 users that were victims of this haste. One of the problems we had at the time is that basically at the beginning, Bitcoin exchange platforms were built by computer geeks, which were more, what they wanted is to democratize Bitcoins. And they were, which is funny for computer guys, but they were not very concerned with security issues. And now you have a new generation of financial entrepreneurs which are building new platforms. But the point is, everything which is done can be cracked, so it will never be 100% safe.
Okay, well, I mean, if it's never 100% safe and people are hacking in, is it public knowledge? Or is Bitcoin really anonymous if you're mining, if you're trading it, or you're holding them?
Alors, technically, one of the big selling points of Bitcoins is that everyone is telling that Bitcoin is anonymous. Okay? Alors, what is true is that your Bitcoin address is anonymous. What is the Bitcoin address? It's a code. It's a string of letters and numbers between 27 to 34 of them. And there is no registry, so once you open a Bitcoin address, it's completely anonymous. This is true. The thing is, you will be using your Bitcoins to do transactions, to purchase assets, services, send money to your friends, and all those kind of things. Now you have companies which actually specializing in a cross-checking transaction done with Bitcoin. How they can do this? It's because in order to secure Bitcoins, because Bitcoins is not a centralized currency, okay? So you needed something to secure the transactions. So they have built this global ledger where every single Bitcoin transaction are registered. It's called blockchain.com. In this website, all the information about all transactions are recorded. So now you have companies which are specializing in cross-checking all the transactions against the address to try to identify who is behind the address. It takes time, but it can be done. And the FBI actually has done it already several times.
Okay. Now, I mean, some of the terms which are thrown about, you mentioned wallet earlier on, but what about this concept of the dark wallet? Can you tell us more about that?
Alors, the dark wallet, it's the reason I wanted to talk about Bitcoins today. The dark wallet is a piece of software and an application which has been designed by two hackers. One is named Cody Wilson and the other one is Amir Taki. And that's one of the beautiful things about Bitcoins, is before, tax evasion tools were built by highly paid Ivy League lawyers. Now, the tax evasion tools of the future are built by hackers living in squat. I mean, it's beautiful. So what those two guys have built is they have built an application which default mode is laundering and tax evasion. I mean, it's...
Bit of a vicious circle there, I think.
Yeah. So they are using what we call a technique which is called coin join. Basically, what CoinJoin is doing is you are spending Bitcoins from your Bitcoins address. At the time where if you use CoinJoin, this transaction will be joined with another transaction which is remotely chosen by the computer system. And you will have actually two transactions put together, and you will have only one transaction recorded on blockchain. So this is very useful for one technique. This technique is called change of address. You have an address with Bitcoin on it, and you transfer your Bitcoin from one address you control to another address you control. And if you do this by using CoinJoin, The more you change address, the less you will make it possible for anyone to identify who is behind this address. So it's quite something which I'm afraid will be used a lot in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I find the whole subject quite intriguing, but as you mentioned, there's also quite a lot of dangers out there. And I think you set us off rightly by saying don't put your savings in it just yet. Yeah. But I mean, what do you think's next? Where's it going to go?
De toute façon, you will have a whole financial sector which will be built out of virtual currency, because now Bitcoins is not the only virtual currency, it's the one everyone is talking, but you have 5 or 6 virtual currency already on the market. So you will have a whole new financial world which will develop on the internet, and it will be another world.
Okay. It sounds incredible. Well, yes, it could be that a whole new, different type of currency wars is actually ahead of us. But René, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your insights about this really interesting topic. It's been a pleasure.
It's been always a pleasure to meet you, Monica.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, that's all from René and myself for another episode, but make sure you keep on clicking back to Dukascopy TV for the next episode. Goodbye for now.